where she is a mother. She's born in Belgium, so she was speaking her native language is French. And she moved all around the world. She lived in London, and then she moved to China, to Peking, where she met her husband. He is a Chinese citizen, nowadays a Canadian citizen, because he moved to Canada and then went back to Peking. So they now have children. She is talking with the children French. He's talking with the children Chinese. The couple is talking to each other English. And he, when the mother speaks to the children French, doesn't understand the word. He is a furniture designer, a Hollywood actor. He runs a studio in a really old ancient temple in the middle of Beijing, together with his wife. She is a lecturer. She is president of a system to support young designers. She designs jewelries. And they came right straight from Beijing to Gmunden to let us know about how could design and generating new ideas via design help young people to drive their own individuality. Please give a warm welcome to Jehanne deBiolley and Harrison Liu. Thanks for coming.
Liu and I live with our two children in the 500-year-old temple in the center of Beijing, and we are immersed in one of the oldest cultures in the world. And from this unique base, we try and help preserve memory. When we first, renovated that courtyard, at the beginning, all our friends thought we were totally crazy to live, if anything, to live in a temple. And now, it didn't take long, well, it's already 11 years we're there, but in that temple, but very quickly, all our friends, artists, actors, journalists, they've had enough already of, marble and gilded furniture, and they really find it interesting that we preserve these surroundings, and they appreciate our decision. So through our work in art and design, we have a leading part in creating the new China style. So whether it be jewelry, a film, or the design of a hotel, we take elements from both our ancient cultures and celebrate them in a contemporary design language, which we weave into the patterns of the society or the customer we address. Our style crosses over from old to new, from east to west, I would say in harmony with our lifestyle. The education we give our children, our two young children, there you are again, old and new, old parents, young children. We try and educate them in the two cultures. We teach them to appreciate and respect both the European and Chinese cultures, as well as the planet we live on. This environmental issues is also a modern and new topic in China. So we inspire them to discover and learn about both cultures, the language, the food, the music, the arts, the design and the philosophies. So what we find most stimulating in the city of Beijing itself is precisely this ongoing dialogue between old and new, whether it be the architecture or the numerous art and cultural salons that pop up in the artistic and intellectual circles that we take part in. The topic of old and new is the trend in China. A most recent news you may have heard of is that the Chinese government has announced that the theme of the next 5 years plan is art and culture. So considering that China has 56 living ethnic minorities and a rich heritage of 7,000 years of history and culture, we believe that we shall be witnessing the beginning of a true renaissance that will be shared by all. When I first came to China 21 years ago, and from then on regularly till I based myself in Beijing, people used to ask me, "Are you not afraid alone in China?" Then overnight, literally overnight, with 9/11, the perception of China changed, and people would say, "You must feel safe in China." Another moment was, of course, the Olympics in 2008. With the international success of the celebration, the seal of approval was stamped on the China cultural identity. And almost immediately thereafter, there would not be a single advertising campaign or a TV show in China that would not display a new combination of Chinese traditional features. And last but not least, a few months ago, as I was driving the car in Beijing with our two children, aged 9.5 and 7, it occurred to me that children do not naturally know the age of a city and its historical background. So I said to my son, I said, "Chengji, all the tall buildings you can see are exactly your age or a bit younger." And he was gobsmacked. He just couldn't believe it. And he was also quite proud. So China still faces many issues and challenges, we all know, of which some seem incredibly similar to some of the topics we discussed today.
We're talking about old, new, and also we're talking today some designer about China things, and I want to use the few minutes talking about everybody shared old China, how to Chinese invite their culture, how to writing the Chinese word, and how to I design my style furniture, and I just use the paper to try writing some old Chinese things. Maybe it can help everybody understand a little, know some China why, the history and now. Okay, that's all the time. China, how to writing water. We talk new now. This is water. And mountain, the old time. That's a mountain. And now, it's a mountain. And I want to show some like a fly. The old time fly like a birds. Now it's fly. And I want to talk about old or new. I think this can grab the Chinese mentality, philosopher, how to thinking things, and different than Western. The China now is new. It's a lot of things going on, a very crazy development, all of big things, and lots of old people become like, retired, and especially China, lots of kind of job when they are 45 already retired, because like bus driver, different job, and they don't want to their long hours or long age to work. And suddenly China have a huge population joined like an old age community. But when you travel all around American or Europe, you don't see lots of old people on the street, on the park. Sometimes you see you saw their walk. But in China, it's something I think people need to think about, or research for your science people. Chinese old people, they like coming together, dance, sing, talk in the park, in the public. Some way, I think, is very interesting. I think Chinese like a crowd, like together doing things. Maybe that's how the Chinese old people not feeling very lonely and sad. And also give young people a little images, thinking together is kind of energy and power. And they can working hard together and share experience very quickly. I remember one time we go to the park and you see the people dance and sing, and somebody don't know how to dance and sing, they just talk each other. And I try to listen. They just say, you know, I have a problem, my back pain. Everybody is a doctor. I gave an idea. You need this move, you need that move, you eat that. Quite interesting. Maybe I think this story is very simple, make people thinking, why China now? Thank you, everybody.